question for you is, how did your path as an herbalist begin?
That's a great question, Jeanine. I love thinking about the start of my relationship with plants because it takes me back to really early times in childhood. My grandfather was a sustenance farmer, 5th generation, and had set up about an acre of garden on his land in a pretty suburban area, but had garden plots that were set aside for me when I was 3 and 4 years old, and would be out there with my tiny size bucket and tiny size shovel, digging in the dirt with him and really gaining an appreciation for how we can be in relationship to the earth and how much it gives back to us so directly when we honor and acknowledge and cultivate that relationship. And at the same time, my father, who was a botany professor and an astronomy professor, was dragging me along with him when I was 4 and 5 years old to his classes at the local college or out into the field to study Latin names and botanize or look up at the stars. So both of those patriarchs in my family really led me to be in direct relationship to plants. And then as an adult, when I was 18, I went down to Guatemala sort of just to be naive and travel the world a little bit with that privilege and kind of study and find myself. And I landed in a small community on Lake Atitlan where I was able to work for one of the local healers, a local doctor, and just sort of a room and board exchange where I could sweep the floors and wash dishes in exchange for being fed and having a roof over my head. And as our relationship grew and we cultivated more trust between us, he began to teach me about the plants, and so did so many of the other madres and curanderas in the community that would take me under their wing and just walk me around at the market, introduce me to Jamaica hibiscus flowers or different types of aloes and prickly pear growing in their region. And when I came back to the US, I actually had gotten quite sick on my journey home, and I was seeing lots of different doctors and not getting better, and then was in contact with folks from that community who sent me some suggestions for herbs that might help. And it turned out, because I live in the subtropical region in Florida, that many of those plants were actually weeds growing in my own backyard here that I had never really met or understood in that depth and in that way prior to those experiences with them. So my own personal health journey, where the medical system was not serving my needs and the plants were, really opened my eyes to the people around me, my loved ones and people in my community that didn't have access to feeling whole and healthy and holy in their bodies because of the way that our medical system is set up with so much injustice and inaccessibility and poorly distributed resources among our communities. So I saw the plants here in Central Florida providing such a resource and felt really called to share that with friends and loved ones and continue my own journey studying. And then that has just continued to deepen and enrich my life and led me here to talk to you today.
So many of us have some sort of direct encounter with it, to deepen the connection that we have with the plants around us, and to, the weeds in our backyard are also the medicine that we need. There's such a beautiful symbiotic relationship with our community.